All right, today we're working on the 78 Aquasport. I'm gonna take a look at these floors and start pulling some of this stuff up to see what's underneath. We're gonna drain the bad gas from the tank, make sure this thing is not just a floating fire hazard. I'll probably just be buying 2 new hatches for here and there. I'll get a white one for over here and a white one for over there. Alright, so with the hatch off, you can see there's some pretty important stuff in here. This is the aluminum gas tank. Over here you can see the bilge pump, and then this hose here I believe goes to the live well, which is in the back. I'm pretty sure that's a massive live well right next to the motor. It's kind of weird, but anyway, that's what it is. And then but all of it looks good, so just gonna vacuum with the shop vac in there. And then it looks like this bounced out of its little spot, and we're gonna test it and see if it still works. If you were curious just how unstable and soggy this floor is, I don't know if you can see that flexing, but it's pretty remarkable. It's pretty bad, so I'll be happy to have that out of here, because anything is better than this foolishness.
That's all they're gonna have.
Okay.
So they're kind of nihilism, you know. What's the point of life? People ask.
That was easier than I thought it would be.
What's the point of life? Everything's interpretation. Humanity's a cancer on the planet. You know? Well, how about no? How about not that? How about that there's something to us? We don't have you.
Oh god. It really had a nice big gas tank, and the top of it's definitely still sturdy. Connections still look good. I'm gonna see if we can salvage this and get it re-hooked back up to this motor, because if you're going offshore in this big boat, you're gonna want a big gas tank like this. So I mean, all this stuff looks pretty new. Skill saw for the win. God, that was loud. Oh, I should have had on earplugs. We will most likely end up cutting more of this out and make it look like a person with a saw cut it out, not some sort of animal. Alright, so here's the cut. Looks like I did a fairly straight job, straight enough. Looks like all of this wood under here is completely soaking wet and delaminating. So that really sucks. Alright, as we started to move the center console around, you can tell it's already been moved before. And in fact, when you look on the inside, it's already been well, I just pulled it back about 6 inches. But anyway, all the screws and the caulk and everything was already detached. So one way or another, this thing was coming out, and I'm gonna try and maybe prop up the center console up on some blocks or something so I can slide this out easier. And then one last thing is all the wires for the dash, for the components that possibly still work, go through here. So I'm gonna try one more time with the skill saw. Cut a little angle off and not massacre all the wires, and because I don't want to have to do more work that I don't have to. So Uh-oh. All right, now that we've got this crap out, we can see what it's going to take. We can see what it's going to take is a long sheet of exterior plywood, obviously marine grade plywood, so that's going to be pretty expensive. These days wood prices are just insane. Right here it is very soft. I mean, your foot goes down almost an inch or so. It's way too soft. Like, that's the first thing any buyer is going to say is like, dude, somebody's going to fall through the floor right here. So you can't take this boat offshore with it having like that. All right, so I'm glad that I moved the center console, because under here you can see that's a pretty nasty, I guess, rotten spot where they used to have a screw, and it made a huge hole in the floor, also up here. So I'm going to want to address these issues. All right, so eventually I'm going to move this console out of here. I'll get in here with a side grinder and round out these holes and see how, because around here it's actually solid, but I don't know what happened previously to do this sort of damage. But anyway, we're going to get it looking nice and gel coat over this. This wood grain's definitely an old school look, and I'm leaning more toward painting all this wood black, black enamel, something permanent, waterproof, and I think that way it'll stay within this black and white theme here. Because, all right, I think this is the only piece of wood I'm actually going to stain, and I'm going to glue that, put it back inside of here. All this wood, although it might look nice if I completely sand it and restain it and seal it, it's on the side of more work, basically, because there's so much other work that I have to do to this boat. I don't want to spend days messing with this wood. So I am just going to paint it black, because that's going to allow me just to paint over stuff like this. Because if you can imagine trying to get in this tiny little crack and sand it with a sandpaper, it's going to take all day. And there's so many spots like that. For instance, around here, how do you sand up to the Aquasport ID without scratching the metal, or without you know, without stopping short of the mat? All right, since I decided to paint this black, I do have to sand it so that way it's not flake paint and then a different texture of wood. But like on something like this, I don't necessarily have to go down all the way down to the wood. If it's a gloss black, or even a flat black for that matter, that goes over this. I've got it mostly sanded, and I'm about to wipe it down, but first there's a couple spots up in here you can see that are going to need some wood filler. They had extra holes. This stuff does take a day to turn solid, and then you would want to sand it after that. Up here on the dash, it's just been really abused, and they have white caulk and massive cracks. So what I'm going to do is just put one of those pads over it. You're not going to see this. I am going to sand this junk off of here first, though. You can see the varnish that was on there comes off pretty easily, and even the wood, it was, you know, the wood's just so weather worn that it sands off really easily. It made smoothing out some areas where they had chips and stuff just really quick work. I've got everything sanded down on the dashboard. I even put some wood filler up here and sanded it down, even though we're going to cover this. We're about to get it sprayed off with some air, wiped down with some acetone. We're going to stick some tape down, get this thing painted up. Alright, I'm using this Rust-Oleum flat black enamel paint. This is actually really old stuff, so it's like kind of thick. It should cover really well. It's going to make this waterproof. The next owner shouldn't have any problem with it, as long as I don't drip any more on the center console. Start. Alright, when you spill it on the center console, it comes up really easy with acetone, probably paint thinner, lacquer thinner would all get it up. Check it out, all black. I think it was a great decision. I have one more board to stick in here that's going to be black. All right, check out this transformation from this old junky looking wood. Wow. It's going to be awesome. Yo, look at this. That is like 1,000 times better. Alright, here's the center console before. I swear it looks 2 decades newer now. Look at this thing. How slick is that?